Hi, I'm Shashi and this is Karisu. In the history of Malaysia, the last woman to ever be hung to death was on this very day, 2nd of November 2001. And her last words were, "Aku takkan mati," which translate to, "I will never die." Today we're going to look into the life of Mona Fandey, how she grew up, how her life progressed, and what led her to do the things she actually did, and why the Malaysian judicial system decided to drop the death penalty on her. But before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and we can get straight to it. Mona Fandey, born in the 1950s, born to a rather regular family, a middle-class family, and at a very early young age she started to sing and dance already, and her only goal and dream in life was to become popular, to become famous. Along the line, eventually she got married. Her husband is Mr. Fendi, who is also said to be her biggest fan, and Fendi promised her one thing, that he will do everything in his power and invest as much as he can invest in order to make her dream come true, which is to become popular. Together they put in a lot of hard work, and eventually they came up with an album for herself called Diana. However, after a few years, they sort of realized that this pop thingy is not gonna take off for them, that she's never gonna become a popular singer or a popular artist. Somewhere in the middle, she decided to change career, and the career she changed into was to be a bomoh. A bomoh is a witch doctor or a shaman, however you want to classify it, but she was a bomoh. And this career picked off for her like nobody's business. From regular clients, she started to climb up the ranks, and eventually she had very high-ranking clients, very high-profile clients, from politicians to businessmen. People kept recommending her because apparently whatever magic she did worked. And after this, her life began to change 180. She started buying multiple properties, had rows of cars, all imported cars. Her lifestyle was lavish. She would go out and just pick here and there what she wants, and every time she goes shopping, she spends tens of thousands just for shopping itself. And as everything was going well, one fine day, a young upcoming politician went to meet her by the name of Mazlan Idris. He went and met her for the sake of asking her help to use her black magic powers in order to boost his standing in politics, so that in the upcoming election he can become the chief minister. Mona Fandey also agreed to this, and she charged him a whopping 2.5 million ringgit in order for this ceremony to take place. She promised him that she'll give him a talisman which would make him invincible, which consists of a songkok and a cane, which apparently belonged to the late Sukarno, Indonesian president. And just a bit of background, during this time itself, a lot of people who were in contact with Mona Fandey, who were acquaintance of Mona Fandey, kept going missing every now and then, but people didn't really make it a big issue, or they didn't actually pinpoint her as the culprit or what, because there was nothing to suspect there yet. So let's get back to Mazlan Idris. Out of the 2.5 million, he actually gave her 500,000 ringgit in cash and 10 tiles of land as guarantee for the remaining 2 million. And she asked him to come over to her place, and there were a lot of instruction given. You have to come alone, you shouldn't inform anybody, it should be late at night, don't look back while you're driving there, and all this black magic mambo jumbo came in. And Mazlan Idris, who had so much confidence in this lady's ability and this lady's black magic powers, did exactly everything she said. He came at night, he didn't tell anybody, not even his family members knew, and he went into the house. It's a huge bungalow which looks rather creepy. Even now in YouTube there are tons of videos about that, you can check it out. Once went in there, the ceremony was so called a cleansing ceremony to get rid of all his bad aura from him first. So they asked him to strip naked and lie down on the floor. There were 3 of them there, Mona Fandey, her husband, and an assistant who was always with her. And after he lied down there naked, she asked him to close his eyes and started putting flour on him and said, "Wait for the money to drop from the sky." And just like that, they chopped off his neck with an axe. And not only that, his body was after that chopped into 18 different pieces, partially skinned, and some even claim that she ate some of the meat, like the human meat there. After this was done, they took the whole lump of 18 chopped pieces of Mazlan Idris and buried it in her storeroom, topped it off with a cement cap. Mazlan Idris is actually a very prominent upcoming politician. So the moment he went missing like that, people already started panicking at that time. The family members were looking, his political party was looking for him, the whole government was shaken up. How can someone so prominent just go missing like that out of thin air? When they investigated further, they noted that he actually withdrew 300,000 a few days before his death. While all this investigation was going on, Mila Fandey's life was going on as usual. There was no panic and there was no worry or anything in her eyes. She kept spending as usual. She actually bought Mercedes at that time, full paid on cash. She got a facelift, started shopping as usual. It didn't look look like there was any reason to suspect her at all. Unfortunately for her, her assistant who was with her this entire time got caught in a drug case. He got caught because he was consuming drugs. And while he was in police custody and while he was still high, he actually blurted out to the police that yes, they are the one who killed Mazlan Idris, and actually brought the police and showed them exactly where his body was buried. After this, police started their investigation and finally arrested Mona Fandey. This whole thing happened in 1993, and after that, for the next 8 years, this whole court case and everything was going on. Here's where things get very weird. Imagine someone who just got caught by police, and we can always see this in the TV and in the medias and stuff. They always cover their face and they don't want to show their face to the public. They're usually embarrassed or shy or something, but not Mona Fandey. Throughout her entire imprisonment, she was the happiest that she has ever been. Always smiling, always wearing very vibrant, colorful clothes, posing for pictures, giving autographs, and she always appeared with a smile in her face. Never once did she show any remorse or any guilt or anything. It was like nothing ever happened. And the reason for this is her lifelong dream had finally come true. She was finally popular. She was the talk of everyone in Malaysia at that time. And she actually thanked entire Malaysia for this. Finally, after a lot of to and fro, they decided to drop the death penalty on her, to be hung in the gallows till death. And her final wish at that time was to eat KFC. The final food was actually to eat KFC and to meet her family members. And even until the last day, there was no remorse or anything. She kept laughing and she was always happy. And her last words as they hung her in the gallows was, "Aku takkan mati," meaning I will never die. And as the story goes, even until today, people claim that at the Kajang prison, they can still hear her screaming. Even now, people are still talking about her. Her fame actually keeps growing and growing. Even recently, there was a movie called Dukun which came out. There was a lot of controversy. The Malaysian government tried to block the movie from ever releasing, but the early unedited version of the movie was out on the internet already. And because of popular demand, the movie was finally released in 2008. You can check out the movie. It's awesome, really scary and awesome. So that's it about Mona Fandey. This story is just to show how far one person would go to achieve their dream and goal. What would they do? What would they not do? What limits and boundaries are they willing to cross? How someone is willing to divert their own moral compass and to feel absolutely no guilt in their pursuit of their goal. So since today is the 2nd of November, keep an eye out. Since you're watching this video, she might just come for a visit. I'm just joking. Or am I? Bye-bye.